The arts and music scene in Sydney is thriving, but keep quiet about it because they might shut it down. The lack of official spaces has led to a mushrooming of do-it-yourself venues springing up in all sorts of places. It's all a bit on the quiet because in the eyes of the New South Wales planning laws, they're illegal. Fenella Kernebone reports from an undisclosed location.
This is Sydney's inner west and it's the industrial part of town. It's mostly factories and warehouses, not the kind of place you'd think to come out for a night on the town, but you'd be surprised what goes on behind closed doors.
It's an artist playground, so literally it's a space run by artists for artists.
It allows like a whole kind of musical community to thrive because anybody can put on a show and anybody can play.
Now this is one of the many venues here in Sydney, but you wouldn't see it advertised in the local newspaper because essentially they have to operate with a low profile, and the reason is that they're operating without the necessary approvals. Basically, they're illegal.
We found this space in 2006. We wanted to have a secure space for our studios and we wanted them to be affordable. And that's a really big issue for artists in the city.
This work may not be to everyone's taste, but it is pushing boundaries and it does have a loyal following.
There's a whole lot of regulations that go with the venue. I mean, we have a very safe practice here. We are very respectful to our neighbours. That's a big priority for us. When it comes to the law, when it comes to the process, it's beyond our reach.
So you're saying that this space here essentially is existing under the radar, it's operating under the radar?
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's the only way that it can actually survive.
That's because the law is complex when it comes to venues that open their doors to the public. There are strict fire, safety and liquor licensing regulations, and achieving compliance can be a costly and drawn-out exercise. And then there's the neighbours to consider. Do they get annoyed?
We know that if we're going to be making noise all night, the neighbours are going to shut us down. So we've tried to work around that. We've made our shows earlier and perhaps even a bit quieter, a little. And so it seems to be working fine now.
But the threat of being shut down is very real. Things seem to be a bit, less happening. What's going on?
We're being evicted at 5 o'clock this afternoon.
5 o'clock this arvo?
Yep.
What time is it now?
2:05.
How do you think about your chances to get
We're
out
not
of
getting
here?
our bond back, that's for sure.
Now, what is Make It Feel? Tell me the history.
It's been running for about 9 years. It kind of developed into like a venue, and I mean, we're not supposed to live here, but we do. And it's like a place for independent music to happen. Grind, hardcore, punk, even more alternative bands played. But it just, depending on who lived here, depending on what kind of shows were put on.
So why do it? Why run the gauntlet of the police, the local authorities, or even the landlord? Perhaps the answer is to go legal. One venue that actually has tackled the red tape and the expense is this place, Red Rattler here in Marrickville.
We have all sorts of things here. We have performance, we have film nights, we have installations, we've had festivals, we had a craft market, workshops, talks. We've got studio spaces. I can't think of anything that we wouldn't have here, and I think that that's very similar and reflective of the other spaces that have been shut down over the years. They're just playgrounds for people to create.
Complying with the law involved jumping through a number of hoops.
It's such a big maze and comes with a pretty hefty price tag as well. I appreciate that the fire safety compliance is so important, totally vital, but so out of people's reach. If there was a way that you could set up so that it wasn't so expensive, if there was a system to fund that or help people, even guide people through how to do it, there would be so many more spaces.
I think we want to be legal because I think we want to be recognised and be allowed to, and have a right to actually produce and to create in this city. But there's a lot of There's a lot of administration that comes with that as well.
The complexity of the entertainment laws mean even some legal venues are having trouble staying open. The Hopeton Hotel here, one of the icons of Sydney's independent music scene, recently closed its doors due to the cost of compliance. But there is now a ray of hope in New South Wales, where the state government recently announced the abolition of the place of public entertainment laws, a move that will reduce the red tape.
What we've had in this state is a situation where a cafe or a restaurant had to go through another level of approval, get an additional license just to have someone perform for their patrons. What we've said is, as long as your main business is to provide food and drink, you can provide public entertainment. You can provide live entertainment to your guests.
This is good news, but for many small operators, the costs of being above board are still prohibitive. So, as we've seen in this story, these warehouse venues have long nurtured edgy and experimental work, and it's the kind of things you're unlikely to see anywhere else. It's such a thriving subculture, and I think that if we lose the opportunity to see this kind of stuff, it would be a massive shame.
Well, there you go, Fenella. So